anywhere that he's not welcome. Have you ever tried helping someone you knew didn't want your help? See, at times our God actively shuts doors before us. Let's move on. God will actively shut a door before us. And you're like, hold on, God, I was just about to walk in that door. This is so we aren't able to move forward in regards to that door. See, there's something behind that door that you weren't conscious of, that God knew. He already knew on this other side of that door was going to destroy you. And he had to shut the door to keep you from going through it. Because he knew if the door was open, you weren't going to listen to him. All the warnings he had thrown to you, all the signs and symbols God had given to you, if he left that door open, you were still going to walk through it. If he'd have left the door open, you still would have walked through it. So sometimes God actively shuts the door before us. And this is so we aren't able to move forward in regards to that door. So again, we may not know what God is doing or why he's doing it, but we got to trust him. Being forced to move around is never easy, or being forced out of our comfort, even more so. So I'm going to repeat that. At times, God actively shuts the door before us. This is so we're not able to walk through that door. Because if he'd have left the door open, out of all the signs he had given you, you still would have walked through it. So God had to actively shut the door before you. Because if he'd have left it open, you were still going to walk through it. No matter how much he told you, no, my son, no, my daughter, don't go through there. And what was on the other side of that door was going to destroy you. But you still would have walked through it. So God had to actively close it to prevent you from moving forward. And it seemed like something that prohibited you from moving forward, right? It seemed like something that may have knocked you back a few steps. But in actuality, it was preserving you. Because you wouldn't have been moving those steps at all. You've been dying there. All right, so we don't always know what God is doing or why he's doing it. But we have to trust him. Because being forced to move around is never easy, or being forced out of our comfort, even more so. But then there's a time that the door is right open in front of us, right? And although it's open, it doesn't necessarily mean that God wants you to walk through it. Now this is where your intellect, he gives us wisdom. He's given us all the cons, all the prohibitors, all the inhibitors, all the things that are going to knock you off your course. He's shown it to you, shown you all the cons. But this time, my son or daughter, you keep on repeating these steps. So this time I'm going to leave the door open. And I'm going to see if you're going to listen to my voice. You say you're ready. Can you hear me? But bigger than hear me, can you adhere? Will you be obedient to my words? To what I'm calling you to do? Your will for your life. The will that I have for your life, rather. Speaking for God, right? So then there's the times that God opens the door right in front of you. And although it's open, it doesn't necessarily mean God wants us to walk through it. So whenever God doesn't want you to move forward, it's only because he's provided another way. He's not going to close the door and leave you with no way. That ain't the type of God he is. If he shut a door, just know that there's another way out. If he closes that door, it's because he has another way for you to exit. All right? So God wants us. So there's the time the door is open right in front of us. Although it's open doesn't necessarily mean he wants us to walk through it. Whenever God doesn't want us to move forward, it's because he has provided another way out for us. He will never leave you with no way out. So if he shuts the door, it's because it's another way out he needs you to take. All right? So one way of knowing if you're moving forward in the right direction is when God has provided you with the faith and courage to do so. Now this is a very important concept on top of what we're talking about, right? Because we're talking about how do we know Sometimes, like, how do we know what God is doing in our life? How do we know if it's something that God wants us to do? Right? Because if it's something that God wants us to partake in, he's going to give us the courage and the faith to do so. If it's something he doesn't want us to partake in, then he's going to give us all these questions going to come with it. Right? And I'm going to explain. We're going to go a little deeper into that concept right there. How do you know? Romans chapter 14:23 states, for whatever does not proceed from faith is sin. Simple as put. If it's not faith, then it's sin. Simple as put. Let's not confuse faith with simply doing what you want to do. Right? Doing what you want to do. Whenever you have questions or doubts about moving forward, then you can assure yourself that your faith does not precede you. And this is where errors and room for mistakes to occur will come in. So if it's not faith, then it's sin. It's simple. So when God wants us to stop, he will highlight the cons of what we're doing. He gives us the wisdom to know what that might do. What might happen? What might occur if we partake in that? Or if we go that way? I tell you all the time, the first thing is to seek ye the kingdom of heaven. And all the answers you need will be right there waiting for you. So God will never leave you unequipped. Never throw you out in a battle without the proper protection.